All right, that is simply a cross-body hip hinge, or we might even call it a touchdown. The key here though is what's happening to create the motion. It's not bending over. Just like we're doing a hinge, we're not bending over, right? It's pushing the hip backwards. So I'm balancing on one leg, so obviously there's a tremendous amount of balance in this exercise, and I'm hinging back, okay? So I want to master just a regular one leg hinge first, so you can even just think about reaching, whoops, see, pay attention. Reaching, pushing the hip back, reaching for the inside of the foot or inside of the calf before we think about the outside of the calf or the outside of the foot. Okay, all the while keeping good position, pushing the hips back, and this shoulder blade is going to want to drop on you. Squeeze it back. Get a little upper body work as you're doing that lower body. Okay, so just having to hold that, and you'll see that when we add a load, you're really going to feel that. You got to hold that back. So if we add a load, we're going to. Everything's the same. Just coming across. There's going to be a little bit of action around that shoulder, but coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down, right? So it's not going to stay perfectly straight because I'm not doing this, right? Let me just hold that for a second. I'm doing this. So there's going to be some drop of that shoulder, but it's not that. I'm not rolling over, okay? So let's do it again. We're here. Control down, pull up, okay? Now, some things we can do to add to that, once we really get our balance and control, we can start activating the back leg and working with some action in terms of isometrics as well as some movement through that leg. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and go this way. So if I'm doing this like you saw me doing, here, coming down, coming back up, this leg's kind of just hanging out. Right, it's a balance. You might even use it as a kickstand if you need to. But once we get to the point where we don't need it as a kickstand, or we don't have to tap down anymore, we can start doing things like pulling the hamstring right here, basically doing a leg curl. So I'm going to do a leg curl. I'm going to keep the leg curl, isometric leg curl on this side, while I'm doing a hip hinge, or like a straight-legged deadlift or RDL on the other leg, on the other hamstring. So I'm doing a lengthening, strengthening exercise here. I'm doing a shortening, strengthening exercise here, same time. So it looks like this. Right. So keeping that tight. Now I can also add a little bit of hip flexor through that process as well. So I'm here, hamstrings engaged. Lengthening this hamstring, keeping that back one engaged, come up, and then add a little knee up to it, right? Now be careful when I'm trying to look at the camera and do it at the same time, it looks like this. Let's do a couple reps. Here, squeeze, hamstring lengthening. Balance, squeeze, keeping this engaged. There's a lot going on there, okay? So we might incorporate that into a workout as well. It's gonna be different, right? Because that's a lot of balance happening there, a lot of focus, whereas if we're just doing single leg hip hinge with a kickstand or even without, we can start adding some load and doing a little more resistance on that one leg versus maybe having to drop the load to bring in the other leg. So it just depends on what the program is, but I want to put that into one video and show you some options.